Redskins, they've invested a lot in this guy. We know this. So how much patience are they going to have with him this season?
Hopefully more than Jaws does. That's not pressure. That's not pressure.
There's only 3 people coming in your face.
But no, the problem is what Jaws was talking about. I mean, look, the rookie year, he was operating a zone read offense, and they led the league in rushing, and the offensive line was able to move around and take advantage of his movement, and everything worked great. But it didn't do anything in terms of helping him read an NFL defense. That's not something he was ever taught successfully by the first coaching regime, the Shanahans. It's not something he was taught last year by the Jay Gruden coaching regime. So when you talk to people there, everybody is in agreement that this guy has a long way to go. For someone who's already played 3 years in the league, has a long way to go in terms of basic development of NFL quarterback skills. Now the question is, can he get there? And will this coaching staff help him get there?
Oh, I think that's the big challenge. It's been like a recalibration of RG3, actually, because of what you said. You missed time because of injuries. You have a new coaching staff. You don't have success. But one of the things that makes me bullish on his potential is Bill Callahan running the offensive line and installing a new running game, which you hope will result in Alfred Morris looking like the guy he was in the backfield during that season when they did go to the playoffs. And, oh, by the way, Joe Barry, or as I like to call the new defensive coordinator, Joe Barry Carroll, has got to fix that defense for the Redskins. So it's all about the support mechanism that needs to be there. But, of course, we've got the Dan Snyder patience factor, and I think everybody knows that that's always something to wonder about with Washington.
Well, I think that they're showing an investment in him by the fact that they drafted Brandon Scherf. I mean, clearly this is a guy who also needs to be protected. The Redskins allowed 58 sacks last year, which was second in the league. And of the quarterbacks who had a minimum of 200 plays, RG3's sack percentage was 12.5, which was worst in the league. So the first thing is that he has to have protection to be able to be upright. Now, here's the other thing. I also talked to his teammate Pierre Garçon about 2 hours ago just to ask him what he thought about RG3 and his relationship with Jay Gruden. He said, you know, to tell you the truth, I think that they're cool. The beef and tension was not really in front of us so much to speak. He says that obviously he feels like he'll step forward in terms of being a leader. He was a new father in the offseason, and you have that maturity factor as well. But he said one of the things he would like to see from RG3 is to make the easier plays easier. It's almost like he felt like they're better at the harder plays and making things complicated. And he said sometimes we just need to focus on just moving the trains and making the easier easier.
And that's a great point. And you talk about the protection. He has to learn to trust his protection. What we saw in that video was a guy that was protected and acted like someone who wasn't. So the protection schemes from his rookie year were based on that zone read offense. These protection schemes are going to be different. They're going to a power run game. There's a lot more emphasis on physical toughness up front. So he's got to learn to play in that. So it's good to know from the people you talk to in there, from Pierre Garçon, that the issues such as they were with Jay Gruden and Robert Griffin last year might have mellowed a little bit because they have to in order for the two of them to be successful.
And here's
together.
the thing, that pick has to work because even me working in New York, we know who was on the board when they picked Brandon Scherf was Leonard Williams. So that better make a difference because a lot of people will be pointing out the fact that they could have had this guy and they went with the offensive tackle at such a high pick.